we should probably just start saying work in progress. Whatever.
That's probably going to be easier.
We have a much smaller crew than we did last
It's
time.
a very intimate gathering.
It is. It's going to be a much more intimate and sensual work in progress.
The classics.
Starting across from me, we have
Andrew,
Brandon,
Mitch,
and I'm Jake, as always. And we have a new microphone set up too.
as opposed to other days.
have we done a 4-man crew before?
I think
we have.
Maybe?
Wasn't there a format
Without
crew
me,
on the one I
maybe.
did in post?
help me, baby.
Because it was just like you, me, you, and Tess.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
I think so.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Maybe? I don't know. It's hard to
That
say.
one probably posted though. Let's be real.
Either way, certainly
Yeah.
as small as we've ever
You know,
done.
it functions.
Yeah.
Jake's not sitting here alone. That'd be sad. That'd be depressing.
Yeah, exactly.
If we ever end up doing one where like even you two can't make it and it's just Jake and I just sitting down here bullshitting across the table.
the voices.
We could probably do that
Yeah.
for
Well,
maybe like 45 minutes.
For the
We
time we didn't
could
have,
probably kill at least a little bit of time
for
doing
the
that.
time where we didn't have Ian, I just said we should just occasionally like have someone be like, oh yeah, like try
Yeah,
a good
yeah.
impression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make a witty remark here or there, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm Mitch.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
It's
see?
amazing. It's like you're shitting.
I like my new accent.
Remarkable. Darn tootin'. So we will be posting. We're gonna do this backward. We're gonna post our guest episode first this week because I'm lazy and I don't want to read the organize shit. And like I said last episode, stay tuned. Next, because I said it at the end, so I'm gonna say it at the beginning of this one. Next week, get super excited because we have Jason Anarchy, the guy who created Drinking Quest, which is a tabletop RPG with, you guessed it, drinking involved.
Are
He
there
will
dice?
be what?
Are there dice involved?
Yes, actually, there are dice.
I like that.
And HP.
I like
Health
HP.
points.
Oh.
Also internet memes.
That's horsepower.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. And horsepower.
That's what I was hoping it'd be.
That'll be, he won't take up the whole show. We're only going to do like 10, maybe 15, 20 minutes with him. But he will be on and he'll be plugging the shit out of his.
Cool.
He just finished the trilogy up actually because it was during
The
trilogy. Yeah. They function kind of like Munchkin does, where they all work together or as standalone titles.
Cool.
Um,
It's like expansion.
yeah, exactly. And they all have individual storylines of like 4 quests, I think, per one.
Cool.
Per game, and they're really they look really fucking fun. I haven't played them yet, but like I said, he recently released a app for Android. I know he's looking for iPhone developers to port it, but I'm probably gonna get that before we interview, so we can all
It sounds awesome.
play around with it and know what the fuck we're talking about. So yeah, next week, stay tuned for that. I might post it as just like an episode unto itself, or it might just be stuck in the middle of the episode. We'll see what happens.
It's an episode.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
We will wing it.
We will wing it.
Jake, assuming I missed the last episode and didn't want to listen to it, what is who showed up? Well, who was it?
Last episode was
We had some friends of mine. It was Cody, who we had previously, along with our friends
Cody,
Bruce and
Cody.
David.
Yeah, and they were delightful. Actually, they were pretty good. Yeah. Okay.
You should do.
What? I should listen to it. Yes.
So you two can count as 2 listeners.
Yes.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I've been having a little bit of difficulty with the website, by the way.
Which one?
Where you're at. Like I've been trying to get on it, and the day I was, it was probably just the day I was on it, but it just kept on saying like, "Oops, we're having difficulty."
Yeah, they're probably down.
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud is.
Too many people want to listen to Work in Progress.
That's gotta be it.
It's crashing SoundCloud.
It's gotta be
servers.
it. It's not that. It's that SoundCloud. They do maintenance a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're a widely used website.
They really are.
So they get a lot of
Plug into SoundCloud.
Plug into SoundCloud. Ooh, thanks for letting us see your beta, buddy.
Thank you, SoundCloud, for hosting our wonderful podcast.
Yes, for so fucking cheap too. God damn
We're
it.
going to
We
bring in
still
all
don't
the
have-
listeners.
We still don't have access to our RSS feed. Like we can't manually change it, which bothers me, but we don't really need to right now.
What do you mean?
Like the RSS feed URL. So what you do whenever you let's get really techie and alien our listeners real fast.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm curious.
Whenever you submit a podcast to iTunes or there's also extensions and applications you get for web browsers that are basically aggregators.
Yeah.
You type in a URL, and anytime something new is posted in that URL or a website is updated at that URL, it tells you that this new thing happened. It's RSS feeds are used a lot for news websites, podcasts specifically. A lot of bands actually use them to post new information.
Okay.
They just link it to like their blog or whatever. But whenever you want to post a podcast to iTunes, you send them the URL to your RSS feed, which is basically just, it functions simultaneously as a link to your website, but it's a little bit different. And then they take that and they just plug it into their computer, and then that's how it automatically updates every so often, because it checks every, I think, 15 minutes.
Okay.
but anytime there's a new thing, it's like, oh, it's a new thing, better grab that, and it just grabs it, and
Cool.
yeah. So whenever you download something off of iTunes, that's a podcast, you're not really downloading it off of iTunes, you're downloading it from the website through iTunes.
Okay, got it. It's a
iTunes is just kind of a place to hold it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just puts like the name there.
and our one comment.
Exactly. From Hotchkoss.
Thanks, Hodgepodge.
Ah, thanks, buddy. You're the
We
best.
love you.
You make my dreams come true. I meant to ask him. Kevin Feige came out and mentioned something about. Oh shit! What was it? Something about the Avengers movies. And I forget what. I think it was that. Oh, it was the Infinity Gauntlet. He hinted that Avengers 3 is going to be like everything up into Avengers 3 is going to be leading up to Infinity Gauntlet.
Okay.
Which I'm pretty stoked for because alongside that, Sir Ben Kingsley, who played the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, it came out as a confirmed rumor, like this is actually happening, that he's still in talks with Marvel to do something.
To do more stuff?
Yeah, we don't know what it is, but he's still in talks to do something.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it's
He
gonna
really
be-
was the man.
See, I would really like that. He made a really like
A lot of us
creepy
were
terrorist
wondering
man.
about it, yeah.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it, and Iron Man 3 is really two different movies. It has the first half, which is like very much an action-y Marvel kind of like movie with global political undertones, shit like that. And then the instant you find out, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Iron Man 3 yet,
It's
you
on
can
DVD
skip
now,
ahead.
right now.
Yeah, it's on DVD.
Right
Yeah,
now.
fuck you. You just fucking skip ahead or something. I don't give a shit. But the instant you realize he's not the Mandarin,
Yeah.
it turns into very much a Shane Black movie, which is it's
Yeah.
very like not comical necessarily, but it's I don't really know how to explain it.
See, I'd actually argue entirely differently. I think the first half of the movie is when it's Shane Blackie-ist, when fucking Tony Stark spends most of the first half of the film out of costume, bantering with a little fucking kid, and once the Mandarin reveal kicks in, the whole like third act of the movie is basically non-stop blow shit up. Like, there's the whole airplane thing where he's rescuing all the people, and then there's the huge final battle with all the Iron Man suits and the real Mandarin and his fire powers.
See, that makes sense because I totally, completely forgot that he ever talked to that little kid in that movie.
Oh yeah.
That was some of my favorite stuff in that movie.
He's
honestly.
so
That was
sad.
one of the most tolerable movie kids I've ever seen in my life.
He's the kid from Insidious, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea, but he did get cast as the lead in Jurassic World recently. That kid. And I get the kid lead, I would assume. He's
Right.
probably not like
Well, I know.
like run the whole show kind of thing, but
I know we were watching it and we had our eyes on this kid the whole time, being like, they don't just put people in Marvel
Yeah.
movies, and then he's like,
And
hey,
they said-
Harley, and both of us were like, who is named Harley in the Marvel universe?
Yeah.
he's got a lot of spark for a child actor.
A lot
Yeah,
of people were
he's-
saying that he was going to be Nova, but if he's going to be Nova, then they're going to have to change the characters. The guy who is Nova, his name is Harley. So, if I recall correctly.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's
But
like
Nova's just a fucking poor man's Green Lantern anyway.
Nova!
This motherfucker, every time I come home on like Mondays, he seems like, oh man, I read Nova, and I'm like, fuck you.
I haven't read any Nova comics yet, though I'd be willing to give it a chance.
I've read a Nova comic.
He does have a very brief arc in Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah, you probably
Yes, but they completely redid him
It's
differently.
a totally different.
Instead of like a helmet-wearing guy, he's like, my whole body's kind of on fire, but not really.
Yeah.
Oh man, that reminds me. Have you guys seen? Have any of you seen the set pictures from the Nova costume for Guardians of the Galaxy?
I have.
I don't know if they were real or not. I think they were real. It looks like a plastic Hasbro. It is pitiful.
That's a shame.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and it's everything I wanted it to be because I fucking hate Nova, and I
It's
just
such a
want
cool movie.
I want him to tank. I want that movie to tank so
That's
bad.
gonna be awesome.
No, I need.
I'm excited.
I'm
Not for Nova.
I'm gonna
excited
watch
for
it 5
the actual
times.
characters, yeah. Just
Give
to
them
take
money.
him off.
In theater.
I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure it doesn't tank.
Tell all your
Unless
friends.
it actually is awful, in which case.
Well, and the thing
that'll be
is,
sad,
like-
but I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not that terribly against Guardians of the Galaxy. Like it's okay. Like they're fine. I think they're not like that good.
Yeah.
But the storylines they do, it's good for like cosmic Marvel. which
I
is-
am Groot!
Yeah, it's really hard to fall from the floor though. This Cosmic Marvel isn't. Galactus was a train at one point, a space train.
Oh, for Ultimates?
I think so. Yeah.
Going off the
Speaking
rails
of which,
on
I
Space
finally
Train.
saw like the issue like kind of previewing him, but
Yeah.
not really.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, I think I mentioned this before, they're like fighting Reed Richards again. And it's like Sue Storm interrogating him. She's like, by the way, we heard about this space anomaly thing. All we could make out was one word. And he's like, what is that? And it like flashes like Galactus, and it says hunger. And I was like, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
There he is, pink helmet
Right
right
there.
there. Being like, "Arr."
And like I was saying, it's not that I have any real ill will toward Guardians of the Galaxy or Nova. It's just that if Marvel makes this movie and it does well, then when DC finally gets around to making another Green Lantern movie, everyone's just gonna be like, well, they're fucking stealing from Guardians of the Galaxy when it's the other way around. Green Lantern was first, Nova's a piss poor knockoff.
I mean, I guess you'd have to worry about a few casual people doing that, but Green Lantern is so much more well known than Guardians. I can't imagine.
Yes,
it'll
it
be a
is.
big-
But see, the fact that
even people
one
who don't,
person...
even a lot of people that don't know comics probably at least heard of Green Lantern.
By now, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not even saying know anything about it, but just like you've heard the
You've heard it
phrase
in
Green
passing.
Lantern.
Yeah.
Whereas, literally, still no one, even though like promotional stuff is starting to come out for it, no one in the fucking world knows who Guardians of the
No.
Galaxy are.
But that's because...
Only when the trailer. I would actually not be surprised if we see a full trailer for Guardians before Thor in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Probably.
I'd be fine with that.
But it's either going to be then or it's going to be Captain America in
Next year.
April.
Actually, it'll probably be Captain America then. And then they'll
When is Guardians release date?
It comes out
That's-
with Cap.
It-
No, like that year. That year.
I
Okay, so
know
it'll
it comes
be-
out next year.
So
but
it'll
it's
probably
like-
be the November movie. If Cap's the April movie, it'll be...
Yeah.
I could see a teaser in front of Thor,
Yeah.
and then like a full trailer in front of Captain America.
Yeah.
But either way, until we start getting like trailers in front of the big movies for it, no one fucking knows who Guardians of the Galaxy is.
Right.
I
And
know.
even when it happens, there's just gonna be a lot of question marks. If they show a fucking talking raccoon for even a second, people are gonna be like, "What?" Like,
Because it's dumb. Because it's Disney.
it is dumb, but it's I feel like, and again, I know nothing about Guardians beyond what is happening
Yeah.
right now. I have only read Bendis Guardians, but I love what they're doing with the characters right now. I don't know anything about the
Well,
history of the books or
That's
anything, but
that's
I like
okay because the continuity that they have hinted at that they're following is like modern continuity.
Well, yeah, it makes sense because a lot of the current Marvel books are trying to tie into what's going on in the movies,
Oh, yeah.
just so it's easier for people to transition into reading the books.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, as silly as it is, most people are getting into superheroes through movies and then getting into the comic books later if they so choose. Whereas back in the day, the only people who would have watched superhero movies were people who are
Oh,
reading
they
comics.
Who hated themselves
So
because they were all terrible.
the world has changed so much,
Oh
and
man.
for the better probably.
You
But
didn't like Superman 3?
No.
Oh, okay.
Brandon, I didn't like Superman 1 or 2.
Oh.
they're all right.
Quest for Peace is also dumb.
But they're all. I mean, I'm not a huge fan
It
of
doesn't
any
exist.
Superman.
It
movies,
doesn't exist.
But one and two are passable. I've never seen the Donner cut, which I hear is awesome.
Apparently, yeah. Well, it's much like the Daredevil director's cut.
Well, it's
Well,
totally
that actually
different.
helped
than
a lot.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the Donner cut is full of like tons and tons of footage that didn't even get used in the original. Like, the Daredevil director's cut, like the whole original movie is there, and there's just added stuff that pads out the
They
story.
added a whole
It
side
ties it
makes it
together.
actually make
So
sense.
like the Donner cut of the movie is literally all of this footage that Richard Donner was gonna put in the movie,
They didn't
and
let
then
him.
they gave him a different they threw a different director on the project because they didn't like his direction or whatever.
Yeah.
So the Donner cut of Superman 2 is literally an entirely different film. Like it's just a whole different entity, and it's apparently really cool. But I've never seen it for sure.
Huh.
I couldn't tell you straight up.
I've heard things.
Yeah.
A few things.
Good things.
Got it in a magazine.
But yeah, my ultimate concern is that my Green Lantern isn't going to get as much love because if there's one thing I think they did exceedingly well with the incredibly mediocre Green Lantern movie they made was
I wouldn't call it mediocre. I said worse.
worse.
I did not.
I sort of
I
liked
did
it,
not
but I
care
don't
for it.
know or care much about
I
Green Lantern.
did
So
not
it's,
care for it.
Well,
I
that's
always
okay.
stopped watching
because-
halfway through. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, never mind.
Ultimately, it comes down to that it wasn't a good movie.
No.
the other day, I was reading part of Blackest Night, and then I came downstairs, and the Green Lantern movie was on FX.
And you're like,
Just kidding. I'm gonna watch this.
What do you think of that, by the way?
Blackest Night or
Yeah.
Green Lantern movie?
Blackest Night.
So far, so good. I still haven't finished it.
We can
but
how
it's,
far into it are you? Are you- and also, are you
5
reading-
chapters?
Are you reading just Blackest Night or are you reading all
I'm
of
just reading the trailer.
I only did.
Okay, oh shit, you're almost done then.
Yeah.
If you're at 5, then
I don't remember exactly what's happening right now because I've read a lot of books in between the time I read those chapters.
Is Superboy Prime beating the shit out of everybody?
It's the overall arc, like, because they had their each individual things, which I was collecting, and then I stopped because I ran out of money.
No, I mean like right to where he was. Like
Superboy Prime doesn't show up in that book.
I thought he did.
Not in the main ones.
Oh no, he shows up. Okay, that's
Because I have that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
So
The
no,
only
no,
way
it's
I
not.
ever read is with the actual side,
Right,
like
yeah.
all fucking 98
Yeah.
issues of whatever. It's so good though.
No, it's good. Yeah.
Oh my god. There's even
Some are better than others.
Yeah, there's even like a Starman issue, and I never fucking heard of Starman before like
Yeah.
tonight, and they brought it back for one issue, and I was like, I kind of read this because the art in it is so awesome.
Oh, the art's great.
Oh man.
Speaking of awesome comics, Sex Criminals 2 comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, it does. I'm excited.
So that's going to be really cool.
Shout out to that book,
I-
by the way.
it's-
Shout out to Matt Fraction, I love you.
That's one of the books I'm most excited about. Tomorrow's actually a good day, I think. I think there's a couple books coming out that I'm interested in.
He-
picking up. And by the time people are hearing this,
Right.
this
Oh,
list
yeah.
will have already come and gone.
Yeah. Matt Fraction, as it's well known, I follow him on Twitter because he's fucking hilarious, even if he's a dirty hipster. He tweeted a Wikipedia page that I guess him and Chip Zdarsky, who's his artist on Sex Criminals, I guess they found it, or he might have found it just by himself. Anyway,
Right.
it was an article just describing how back in like the late 1800s in Kentucky. I know, right? Yeah, that's in Kentucky.
I ate at a KFC in Kentucky once.
How was it
Was
good?
it better than
It's
the
the same as every other
average?
KFC. But they had like a big statue of the Colonel in there.
That's fucking awesome. Oh my god.
It's actually funny.
So, in Kentucky in the late 1800s, there was a brief time where meat fell from the sky in about 100-yard by 50-yard area, and people didn't know what the fuck was happening. So,
Was it like birds falling out
well,
of the sky?
no, it was like meat,
Frogs?
like just meat, like that you would get at the butcher shop. And so some people tried it. I think they tried it and they're like, well, this tastes kind of, it's a little gamey. It tastes a little bit like venison or something like that. And then they
can't fly.
I know, exactly. And that's what it was like.
Yeah.
Why the fuck is it raining meat in this very specific spot?
It was like-
it was
Why
a
is it
lot.
raining meat?
It was a lot, like a lot of meat.
Okay.
And so they, one guy sent off some samples to like a college or something,
Okay.
and they sent a letter back to him. They got printed in the newspaper saying that among the samples that they had received, there was like animal cartilage, just general like animal meat, and then either horse lung tissue or human infant tissue,
Okay.
and they couldn't decipher it because both of them were very similar,
Sure.
I guess.
Well, it's like the
Sure.
idea that like I think pigs have the general makeup.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it had all been like mashed up,
Uh-huh.
so they couldn't really get anything from it. And the leading theory, Tinderboys.
Tinderboys.
Gonna make some burgers out of it.
That's gross. The
Whether it be
leading,
horse or infant.
the leading theory, because it's never been confirmed what actually happened about this, because how the fuck do you confirm that? The leading theory is that a flock of buzzards had flown over, and one of them had regurgitated, like they often do. And apparently, when buzzards are in large groups and they see one regurgitate, they all start to
They're
regurgitate.
just like humans. You see someone throw up, you're like, oh, I have to throw up.
Yeah, exactly. And a flock of buzzards must have been flying overhead after recently eating a couple of like dead horse carcasses, and they had just regurgitated horse meat all onto this very specific part of the ground.
And some people ate that.
And some people ate that. But the best part about this tweet is not even the article; it's that he hashtagged it with new sex move names, because the article, I shit you not, is called Kentucky Meat Shower.
I kept on wondering, like,
How is this going to tie back?
How does this work with
And it was, I saw it and I laughed for like 3 minutes.
God,
Because, oh my god,
that's spectacular.
it's fantastic.
By the way, I've been promoting that comic to like a lot of
Oh,
my
thank
friends, and just because like I because of you, I got to because of Andrew over here, I got to read issue 1, and I loved it. Like it was really funny, and the concept is just so funny.
Yeah.
And I brought it up, and everyone gave me that like that turned head, not the dumb dog look, but like what? Like the intrigue, like go on.
Continue.
And so I'm trying to get people to read it. They probably won't because they're lazy, but I'm trying.
Also, it's a hard book to sell.
Yeah,
It's called Sex
yeah.
it would
Criminals.
help if you could get a hold of a copy to give to some people.
Oh,
But
definitely,
it's
definitely.
apparently hard to get a hold
They're
of.
doing
right
2
now.
prints.
Yeah,
At least
well,
2.
as well as issue 2 comes out tomorrow, but the second print
That's
of issue 1 comes
That's
out
really
tomorrow.
You might not be able to get the second printing unless people have extra copies.
Right.
Unless you reserved it earlier, and I meant
Right.
to reserve it. God damn it! So I'm just gonna have to call around or
Just wake up at 8 o'clock and just.
If you're
Yeah.
lucky, they might have it at Barnes and Noble.
Take
If
it
you're
to-
lucky,
They
they're
won't.
late.
Barnes and Noble won't have it because a lot, even like the Next Level and like the quote unquote comic shops we have in Springfield, we don't fucking have it.
Oh, go to the new one. No one knows about it. Comic Cave. Shout out to Comic Cave on
The
Battlefield.
one
It's
up
on a strip mall.
Yeah, it's like near just for him.
Yeah.
That's-
I tried getting a job there, but the guy like just opened. And he's like, I can't afford anyone yet.
Yeah.
Keep checking back if you're curious.
He's apparently been I went to their website and
Yeah.
apparently he's been doing it like since 1997.
That's cool.
Like he's been in the comic business since then, which is rad.
Anyway, the day I went in, he was like talking to like two guys who were selling him like really old Power Ranger memorabilia, and it was cool.
Yeah.
Because you know he's like, what? Why
He's
not?
like, fuck it, I can sell this. Product.
Yeah, especially in like that store.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, a good start, good first impressions.
But yeah, it's. I mean, even at the stores, it's where like downtown Springfield is very much. It's very blue. It's very much Well, I guess not. It's not
the
as
DIY?
no. It's not as like open and liberal as like
Right.
most people will consider a blue area to be. But the immediate surroundings are just so incredibly conservative. Like in terms of like the things they will read, the things they will watch. It's a very Christian area.
Mhm.
So you can't just put a book called Sex Criminals up on the shelf and call it good. Because someone's going to complain because they bring their kids in there, and they're not comfortable
It's
with
a
that.
whole big thing.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate because that means that I have to go out of my way and get off my lazy ass and do some work to get a fucking book. Or ultimately, I guess I could order from Midtown and pay like more than the comic book itself in shipping.
For shipping in.
Just to fucking get it here in 3 weeks. But it's whatever. I'll probably wake up and call around places to see if I can get it.
Yeah, that's.
Because I'd really like to have a copy of issues 1 and 2,
Mhm.
even if it's not the first printing. I don't actually give a shit, but it's so good. Oh.
It's a good book. And the new issue of Flash comes out tomorrow, and Flash is in the middle of this pretty good storyline with Reverse Flash.
It's a new one now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a new Reverse Flash they've established, but it's a 6-part arc, and part 5 comes out tomorrow. So
Isn't it good?
it's kind of getting to the nitty gritty. It's really good. I liked the Gorilla Grodd storyline a little more. It was really rad.
Wait, they brought him in?
Yeah.
I was hoping they'd leave him out of it.
No, it was actually really super cool.
For those of you who don't know at home,
I've been reading The Flash.
I was going to say describe.
He was brand-
it.
Well, I'll get there.
We should preface this with Andrew recently got a Kindle, and as such has been able to catch up on all these comic books.
It's
Mitch
been
and
fun.
I have been being like, Andrew, read this. He's like, well, I'll do it someday.
That's Sunday's
And then neither of you recommended The Flash game, but I said to read it
You
anyway.
guys are Flash?
I
I
kind
would
of
have
recommend
you
it.
of everybody would have.
I threw it out there. I thought I threw it out there, but I just didn't read it. I
Yeah.
I'd heard things about it.
Yeah. Well, either way, the first arc of The Flash is kind of weird. It's about this guy who can like clone
Yeah.
himself. It's
And it's a lot of
sort of
Flash.
out there. And then the second arc, he starts fighting the Rogues, which is Captain Cold and Heatwave and Weather Wizard and all of these stupid ass named supervillains.
Because Flash doesn't have good names,
Yeah,
supervillains.
though the arc did give me
Mirror
an
Master.
appreciation. Mirror Master's another one of them.
Mhm.
It did give
Weather
me an
Wizard.
appreciation for Captain Cold. He's got some
Yeah.
stuff.
He's
going
still wearing
on.
a parka, but
Yeah,
Thank God, because that's what I wanted from Captain Cold.
but in Flash's big annual, he's fighting the Rogues who are pulling off this magnificent heist.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, yeah.
They're pulling off this magnificent heist or whatever. He's like fighting the Rogues and shit and whatever. And then at the very end of the annual, he's like just fought off the Rogues. He's like, I'm the Flash. Fuck you guys. You can't take me. And then just a bunch of pods start like falling out of the sky into Central City, and out come gorillas. And the very last panel, it's like Gorilla Grodd comes out. He's now King Grodd. He like
Yeah.
won kingship of his gorilla tribe.
As he does.
And he's like, King Grodd demands like the head of the Flash or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And so for like 5 or 6 issues, Flash has to team up with the Rogues to take on this
Take
fucking
on gorillas?
gorilla army that's
Yes!
invading Central City. And
that sounds like fun.
Gorilla Grodd is basically the super intelligent gorilla.
He
And
gets in original continuity. He gets hit with the same thing that Hector Hammond gets hit with, and Hector Hammond grows to be.
He gets a really big head, doesn't he?
Yeah, he just gets he gets a really big head. Does he turn into Mohawk?
He's the bad guy in the horrible Green Lantern.
Yeah,
movie.
there you go. He's like
Peter Sarsgaard, you deserved so
he's
much.
like
He was actually good.
he's supposed
He's
to
good
be
at
like
everything.
the billionaire playboy opposite Hal Jordan's like poor Air Force
Yeah.
guy. They're like
Instead, they made
style.
him like a sad little hobbit in the
Yeah,
Green Lantern
yeah,
movie.
it was just anyway. Fucking yeah.
Wasting Peter Sarsgaard's infinite talents.
Originally, they get hit with like the same asteroid shit that makes them both grow crazy intelligence.
Yeah. So Gorilla Grodd is a super intelligent gorilla, and in the current Flash continuity, I don't know if this has always been a thing, but it's not so much that he's a super intelligent gorilla; it's that his whole like tribe are super intelligent gorillas.
That's
they-
usually not.
like
how it
they-
is. That's
they-
just now.
Yeah, that might be a new thing, but all of them can like think and speak and communicate like humans and shit. And he's King Grodd. He's king of
King of the
gorillas.
intelligent.
King of
At like the second issue of the arc, he taps into the Speed Force, which
Oh,
is Flash's
fuck's
powers.
sake.
So, like, Flash's big advantage over Gorilla Grodd is generally,
He's super
you're so much
speedy.
bigger than I am, but I'm faster than you.
Yeah.
So suddenly, for like 4 issues, Gorilla Grodd is just as fast as Flash is, but he's also way bigger and
That's
meaner.
horrifying.
So it's fucking awesome, because Flash is like, what the fuck do I do? How do I fight this guy? And he
Sounds
eventually
really fun.
ends up dragging Gorilla Grodd into the Speed Force.
Okay.
And in the Speed Force, Flash is basically gone. Because I don't know all the specifics about the
I don't
Speed
think
Force.
anyone does.
But
well, okay.
But because the Speed Force powers are like innate in him, as opposed to Gorilla Grodd, who just like kind of temporarily got a hold of them, Flash is basically like king of the Speed Force. When he's in the Speed Force, he's the greatest motherfucker alive. So he just clowns the shit out of Grodd, and like a fucking mammoth comes along and like plows Grodd off a cliff in the Speed
That's
Force
Speed
or whatever.
Force is like
And then they leave, and Gorilla Grodd's like trapped there forever. And it's weird, but it's a cool arc.
For those listening who know jack fuck all about the Flash, the Speed
Like me.
Force, like Brandon, I'll explain what the Speed Force is to
Like
you,
me.
and a little bit why the Flash is so good at it. The Speed Force is basically, it functions in every shape and form as kind of the space in between dimensions.
Yeah.
I've always viewed it kind of like as, like, Flash runs so fast he tears a hole in space-time and slips into the fourth dimension.
Okay.
So he just basically,
That's what it is.
he basically teleports. That's all he does. But because he's so good at the Speed Force, because he is himself, they've described it many times, he is the Speed Force. Like, the Speed Force is embodied in him. So when he enters it, he's literally,
Everywhere.
he's everywhere. Like, you see him in the comic books as the Flash, but he is literally the entirety of the Speed Force.
He's Electron. He's
It always
Yeah.
looks like a lightning tunnel.
Yeah, it looks like a weird lightning tunnel, and that's why a mammoth came out and hit Grodd, because the
Because
Speed
time
Force, because time stuff. Like, Speed
Yeah.
Force is
Mammoth, like,
all the
slipped in
time,
through time, and
all
was
the
like,
time
"I'm
is
a mammoth."
happening at exactly the same time.
That's cool.
Yeah, but that's exactly why I hate the Flash sometimes, because it gets so fucking stupid convoluted.
Yeah, it's weird and convoluted, but it's also kind of like, I find this is a good rule with comic
You
books in
can't take
general.
it too
If you
seriously.
just like look at it and you're like, because they said that's how it works, I'm just going to accept that,
Yeah.
then it gets a little easier. Basically, they keep telling me all this shit about the Speed Force, and I'm like, okay, I can deal with that.
Comics do nothing better than stick to their own rules.
Yeah.
So
That's not
And just-
always true.
And,
Well,
and, and,
modern
and, and
comics.
crafting bullshit.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it works this way because I said it does.
Yeah. And the best part is, it's never like half-assed, like CSI bullshit, like technobabble.
God, yeah.
It's always got like
Enhance.
something based in reality. It's
I can't
usually
watch that show.
CSI. You can't watch it.
Enhance.
Is it that bad for you?
I just throw my hands up and go, I'm turning it off.
It's like, can't do it off. Can't do it.
I play the way that's bullshit.
I just give up.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that TV shows.
It's like the same whenever I don't give up, and I always find it like ironic. Like I love Burn Notice, and it's like Michael gets stuck in a bad situation, and he happens to be next to like a flammable, like one of those like cabinets that say flammable and has all the chemicals, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it just happens
They're like,
to be
fucking
there.
great.
And he builds. Oh, there's the mammoth.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
the
shit.
mammoth taking,
Is he
taking
about to
the-
make out with that woman?
He's just saving her.
Oh, okay.
Now all I can say is
Naked
from
and
you
flared.
just describing him being like, and then suddenly, superhero suddenly talking gorillas, and then a mammoth comes out. It sounds like it would be a parody of a superhero.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I love
it is silly, but it
I
kind
love
of
it.
works.
And I think that
Flash is a really light-hearted book.
He is,
so
yeah.
it's-
That's why it's good.
I think he works best when you're doing like the parody
Yeah.
of like the stereotypical kind of thing, because it works because his rogues, he wasn't originally conceived as like a parody of his
Right.
superhero. It's just they gave all of his villains shitty names. It's stupid powers.
Captain Cole.
And Mirror
Weather
Master,
Wizard.
Weather Wizard.
Feather
all these
Wizard is
people.
such a bad name.
The best part is I think it's in Flashpoint. They have a moment where I think it's after the first issue, in fact, or maybe it's in Flashpoint or Flash Reborn, where they have a splash page of like all the main Flash supervillains. There's like 9 of them, and they try to make them look so sinister. But if you know who they all are, you're like, these motherfuckers couldn't hold up a bank.
Yeah.
They couldn't do jack shit.
There was, and I will promote this one. They had like a big Flash, like crossover, not a crossover, but like a big event, like before Flashpoint, kind of leading up to it, even though it doesn't really matter. And it's all about like the rogues, like the evil rogues from the future, come in. They're like, we're here to arrest the Flash on things that he hasn't done yet, but we'll do, and
All these state kind of.
all time stuff. But the
Yeah,
only
exactly.
cool part that I really liked was this is like just after the Flash has apparently like come back to life. That was a big deal because they killed off Flash in one of the events, and then he came back in final.
No, which Flash was killed?
Barry,
Barry.
Barry Allen, the
Yeah.
Flash.
Wally West, I
He-
believe, took
he-
his.
Yeah, Wally, Kid Flash.
Yeah, it was found. It was the one that was in. No, it was. No, yeah, because he was gone for 52, and he was gone for Countdown.
Right.
So it would have been Final
He
Crisis.
came back in
because it was like
Crisis,
2004.
and then they kind of talked about why he's back in like a follow-up thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, during because this is after Blackest Night, where he fought a handful of like the dead rogues, and one of them was like Mirror Master, or at least a former Mirror Master. And so it's just the actual rogues talking, and like I think like the one guy I hadn't seen in a while, they're all like going down to this secret corridor that like half of them didn't know about. They're like, where are we going? And then Captain Cold in his parka literally just goes, we have to use this, and it shows like this mirror that they hadn't talked about, and it's like like Hector or Harold or whatever Mirror Master's name was. They're like, he gave us this and told us never to do it unless this happened, and written on the mirror is break if Flash comes back. And they find, like then Flash comes in with like Kid Flash and I think Wally, and then the fellow with like Future Rogues are like, no, don't, and they're like, yes, and they crack it.
Yes, do.
And then a lot of bad stuff happens, and then they do Flash stuff to make it not happen. I forget, but I just remember that panel being like, ooh.
That's another problem I have with Flash is that ultimately his solution to everything, and this isn't an exaggeration, this isn't like me just making it super simplified. It seems like every situation he gets into is solved by just him running really fast.
Gotta run fast.
Because that's his only fucking power.
It gotta go faster.
Well, no, that's actually something I really liked about
I get it.
the new 52 reboot. So to
Shout out to Sonic X.
a lot of the villains he's had to fight so far, he's had to like be more than fast.
Yeah.
Like again with Gorilla Grodd, he had to being fast wasn't
Yeah.
enough. He had to like outthink and like I gotta get him into the Speed Force and then I
And
can
throw a mammoth at him.
Well, and right now he's fighting a Reverse Flash, and just going fast against Reverse Flash doesn't mean shit because
Yeah.
Reverse Flash is just as fast as him.
Because
So
he's
it's like-
literally the exact same as Flash.
So
reverse!
one of the big things going on in that book is like how the fuck is Flash going to be Reverse Flash? So it's like they're kind of flipping that on its head right now.
Well,
Does Reverse Flash have to go backwards?
no.
No, but he actually can reverse time.
Yeah.
That's
He does that, in fact, in Flashpoint. Well, it doesn't
Well, it's
reverse.
a different
it's
one.
much change.
It's a different one.
Yeah, it's different reverse Flash?
It's new.
It's
We
not-
have a new Reverse Flash who's not wearing the yellow tights. He's new. He looks kind of like you can bring up the picture.
I'll get a visual.
I know they have a new one.
You
that they might be tying into Wally West finally showing up in New 52.
You would think that Reverse Flash, simply by name, would be like super slow and like all that shit. But no, that is in fact Bizarro Flash, who is a real thing, and one of my favorite comic book panels in the world is a picture of Bizarro Flash, who's Flash, but his outfit is like dark, like purple, and instead of lightning bolts, he has chains, and he's not very smart, and it's just a picture of him like stomping along, like with a really exaggerated like arms up and just like moving, and he's trying to speak to Bizarro, I think Superman, and it just says in all caps, Bizarro Superman. Bizarro Flash voice reach you before Bizarro Flash does. And he says what I'm fucking used to say to him, but that was horrifying.
It's Reverse Flash on top of
Current Reverse Flash looks horrifying.
which is good.
Yeah.
It beats the yellow tights.
Well, and it looks like the angle that they're going with him is that he can only like reliably reverse time if there's no other people manipulating the Speed Force around him.
At the time.
Oh, okay.
Because I guess if he were to like try and reverse time, but like the Flash is around, the Flash would be like, nope, we're going forward. Again, I don't know the specifics of it, but like.
They probably didn't tell you for a good reason.
But again, the arc hasn't finished yet, so there might be some details that are still to come. But that's just the vibe I'm getting. I might also be talking out my ass. But there's an anomaly that happens in like issue 6 where like a bunch of people get dragged into the Speed Force, and then they come back out. Like Flash saves them like 4 issues later or whatever. But some of them have like Speed Force powers.
Rad.
And Reverse Flash has been introduced, and through the first couple of books, Flash doesn't even know he's around. He's just finding all of the people that came out of the Speed Force dead.
Yeah.
Because what Reverse Flash is doing is he's killing everyone who's tied into the Speed Force because he wants to be able to control time at his will.
Huh.
So he was killing all the people, and he was trying to track down Flash. And then Flash eventually tracked him down because he's like, who's killing these people? And Reverse Flash is all like, this saves me the trouble of fighting you. Time to die.
Who's writing Flash right now?
Good question.
I thought Jeff Jones was writing for a while.
It was
Is
never
it Jeff Johns
He's doing
writing
too much.
Yeah.
Aquaman?
Well, that's why you get
Yes.
Green Lantern, because he was doing Green Lantern, JLA, and Aquaman.
And regular
And
Justice League.
regular Justice League.
It
So
is-
he's like, Green Lantern, I'm doing it for like 100-something issues.
It is co-written by Francis Manapul and Brian Buccellato? Something like that.
They sound like they're doing an okay job.
Yeah, I think the writing's really strong. Well, the writing's good. I wouldn't say really strong. The
It's
art
the Flash.
is
It's
really
good.
strong. I love the art in this particular book. But the writing's pretty good.
While we're talking about this, this has been on my mind for ever since I heard about it. Right now they're in a big crossover, and this is more comic stuff. Sorry, they're doing like a big crossover event right now called Forever Evil, which is gorgeous art.
Which I've still seen nothing about.
We don't
Really
exactly
nervous, though.
we don't exactly know what's going to come out of it, but they have announced very soon in DC the death of 2 characters. One I don't care about because he has been written horribly, and that is Superboy. Apparently he is going to die.
Not
The other
super
one
well.
has been a little rewritten, but I think it's going to be a big issue. They have proclaimed that at the end of Forever Evil, or at least shortly after, they are killing Nightwing.
Ooh, poor
Which
Batman.
I'm pissed about.
I'm ticked
Batman's
off.
having a real shitty go of things
Because
right
literally,
now.
like last year, we killed off Damian Wayne, his son. So now we're going to kill off Dick Grayson,
No,
who is
and-
by all accounts his son.
Everyone's just like, Batman's got too many friends.
Yeah.
It comes down to this idea that for some reason,
Next year, Joker's going to come out and finish off Barbara Gordon.
like I want someone to write, and this has no.
Now that she can walk.
Exactly.
Killer!
This
Finish
has
the job!
nothing to say about anyone who's ever written Batman. Like, there's a great mini stories that were fantastic that have come out of people writing really like depressing, gritty Batman. But I wish, and I guess it would be antithetical to the character a little bit, but I wish someone would just write happy Batman, or not even happy Batman, just Batman where his world isn't crumbling around him.
A Batman where Batman's just an ass-beating machine all the time. and
Yeah.
Doesn't because I'm also caught up on Batman, and one of the things I've noticed about Batman so far is that Batman's just getting beat to shit a lot.
Yeah.
Like the Batman books are really dark and dramatic, but they also don't paint Batman as too terribly of a badass. He gets like a crowning badass moment at the end of every arc. Like, aha, this is how I finally defeat the Court of Owls, bitch, I'm Batman.
Yeah.
But for like the 4 or 5 issues leading up to that climax, he's getting his shit kicked in by whoever's like up against him. So it's like, I can totally see where you're coming from in that, so it'd be nice if there was just like a book like, I'm playing Arkham Asylum now too.
Yeah.
And Arkham Asylum gives you a good feeling of just being like, I'm Batman, I'm better than you.
Yeah, you can take on 12 dudes, just beat the fuck out
Yeah,
of them.
12
nothing
dudes
single
at
hit.
once, or like Bane's fighting you, and you're just flipping around the room, punching him in the back. And
Yeah.
it's just like,
It feels good.
that game makes you feel like Batman's a badass, and the Batman comics don't seem to be reflecting that idea as much. He gets his badass moments where you're like, oh, that's right, Batman is super smart, but he also just gets wrecked.
And that
a lot.
may also very well be just a product of, the times. Like, old Batman is very much, he's literally
Adam
just, not even Adam West.
It's very
like,
campy when he first came out.
yeah, he was very camping, and he was very much, literally, a playboy who was a detective. He wasn't an ass-kicking machine.
Yeah.
He was a billionaire playboy who put on a costume and was a detective.
Well, because it was called Detective Comics.
Yeah, exactly. And then that grew into like really campy, like giant bombs,
Shark repellent.
shark repellent, and shit like that. And it's not bad. That's one thing though. But then Frank Miller came in and he's like, no campy Batman. gritty, dark
Batman is the most serious thing
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
world.
exactly. And they turned Batman into this really serious character who is a little bit more of an ass kicker, but ultimately he came down to this very tortured character. And
People really like it.
people really like that, but people, I think people liked the ass-kicking Batman more than they wanted to say,
Right.
because they wanted it to be like not just like the general public, but like people who
Yeah.
note. So they take these stories and they're like, well, Batman's a badass, but he's also a tortured badass. Because there's this trend that's I'm glad it's like kind of slipping off in media now, but recently, for like the late 20th century, early 21st century, people were very much trying to make everything have a reason and very like grounded in reality. Nolan's Batman is a perfect example. I love all of them. They're all fantastic. Like they each have their problems, obviously, but you know they're fun to watch.
No, I love them.
And they're great, like realistic Batman. But sometimes you just have to make something of the genre.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I just want to read a book where Batman just beating the shit out of fucking like
People.
the Joker or Calendar Man or whatever. And sometimes I just want to watch a movie like Machete. Like people like rain shit on Machete
Are you
Kills.
serious?
Yeah, like they're all like it's.
I adore it.
Yeah, like Machete. I love Machete.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll love Machete Kills because I know exactly what I want from it. I don't want a story that makes sense. I just want senseless violence and bad one-liners.
No, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's
that's
great.
And that's also why I love Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim
Oh, yeah.
is so good because it knows what it is. It's giant robots fighting interdimensional aliens, and they give you so much of it.
So perfect.
And oh my god, and they don't even waste like hardly any time on characters. Which a lot of people is like big no. Like, hey, how are people supposed to give a shit about your characters if they don't know who they are? They're like, who cares? It's a movie about fighting giant robots
And
aliens.
And they delivered.
And they delivered.
Several times.
That movie gets a fucking 5-star in that category for me. I don't even give a fuck.
I got everything I wanted and more.
Still haven't seen
You hear what it's
It's
about?
goddamn
And
fantastic.
you get what you wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Additionally, you get a fantastic little Ron Perlman cameo.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I don't know.
Just for funsies.
He needs to be there
Yeah.
because
And he works really well.
he's really good at it.
I feel, and like I said, it's dropping off recently. There's been a lot more like genre work coming out.
I heard it did not make as much money at the box office as they hoped.
Machete Kills did
Machete Kills?
shit.
No, Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim.
I thought
But it
it-
did make enough to greenlight a sequel.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they also did that because the graphic novel prequel that he did, the
It
writer,
was really good.
Tales from Year Zero,
Mm.
it didn't sell very well, but critically it's really good.
Awesome.
Like I read it, oh my god, so
I'd love to read it.
it focuses a lot on a reporter that I don't know if she's in the movie as like a side character or like a brief mention, but it basically fleshes out the world that you're thrust into in Pacific Rim.
Oh, that's cool.
Like they have that 25-minute intro sequence
Yeah.
where it basically like
They're just talking
explains
about
everything
it,
to you. Tales from Year Zero is like that, except it's more fleshed out and it's an actual story.
Cool.
It deals a lot with Idris Elba's character and the Asian girl, who the last daughter of Tokyo or whatever her name is. It's really good. I like it a lot.
Alright.
And you need to read it too before you. Well, watch the movie first, and then you can read it, Andrew.
Okay.
My voice is going away from me because I'm still sick.
I believe you.
I am actually sick, friend. I don't think I told you. I told Andrew though. I called in sick to work today because one I
I
had.
heard about it from
Yeah,
him, but I don't know why.
yeah. I had a job interview.
Because when I was talking to you, you were like, yeah, I don't have to work today. Yeah.
No, I had a job interview today that I had to go to, and it was right when I would have had to be at work. So I partly called him because of that, and partly because I still am a little bit sick.
Yeah.
And I've been going to work for like the past 5 days. I probably really shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Probably got real sick.
Probably got a real sick.
Bill's sick.
I know you were
Probably got a lot
feeling
of
little bit.
customers sick.
Steve was mentioning that he's sick. Yeah, I probably just I was patient zero. I don't give a fuck.
Tyler might be.
Tyler might be sick.
Yeah.
No, I'm probably sure he's just talking out of his ass.
Shout out to Tyler.
Yeah, shout out to Tyler. He doesn't fucking listen to this.
No, he doesn't.
But anyway, so what was I talking about?
You called him sick. For
To do your interview and
Do your interview.
But what
With his
to do the interview and also because I was sick. But what was I
Right.
talking about before that?
I don't
Machete Kills,
The ship-
stuff like that.
know.
Stuff
I don't remember. Fuck it. I don't remember.
I got a comic book spin back.
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
to. One they've announced, and I'm super, super excited about this. Some aren't because it's another Batman title.
Or Batman.
But
That's
I-
another.
Aren't there,
I know.
aren't there already like 10 Batman
There-
books or
there are
Resident Evil
enough.
Batman?
There are enough Batman titles going on right now that there is a man whose job is literally to make sure they all work together
Yeah.
and don't have it. It's the only.
Lore
he's the
master.
only one with this job.
The lore master.
He is. He's the lore master of Batman.
Yes, he is.
And they do interviews with
I
him.
want
Like,
that job.
yeah.
Great.
Someone asked him, like, "Hey, like, do you have any equivalents? Like,
Yeah.
is there any other job that anybody else has?" And he's like, "Not really," because there's so many Batman books.
Oh yeah.
I've heard of World of Warcraft. They have somebody who does that.
Yeah, we
Well,
talked about it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
There's like 3 of them, I think. Like, there's like one.
Why I'm really excited about this one is they're doing it for a couple reasons. The first reason is it's apparently like the 75th year of Batman existing.
Yeah. It's
So-
also Superman.
Is
Yes.
that kind of the reason they just did the whole Year Zero story arc? in
That's
Batman?
that's kind of a
I
reason
think
why.
he's
He's been
been
wanting
lost-
to do that
Right,
forever.
right, right.
That was, I believe, one
And
thing he
that's
wanted to
just-
do before he
yes.
even started writing.
Yeah,
Batman.
before he
And that's just another reason to go for it. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck it, it's his anniversary. Let's
Yeah.
do a
I
Batman
know when
story.
Snyder was put on Batman, he right off the get-go says, "I've got 3 story arc ideas right now," and that's what we got. Like this is the last of the 3 that he came in,
So he came in with like Court of Owl's death and
Death of the Family, and then this.
Wow.
And he's been going.
So he had 3 really good
He
ideas.
was a heavy hitter.
Which is why they put him in charge of Batman. So now he is, they're bringing out a book. I think it's only going to run next year. It is going to be a weekly series.
Oh, that's right. I heard.
With Snyder writing some, but mostly just overseeing the entire project. And it's called Batman Eternal. And what it is doing is it's going to be a new book every week, which I love it when they increase production, which means I can actually get a lot more excited about it.
Yeah.
It is fleshing out characters in the Batman universe who haven't really gotten touched
Since the reboot.
since the reboot. And
Professor Pig.
yeah, actually.
Did you hear that show's getting
Um,
canceled?
Is it?
I got a boner the instant.
I heard it was actually
Rumor.
I heard it was actually pretty good. So it does kind of bum me out. But at least if they'll replace it with a better project, that would make me happy.
What, like Real Lantern animated series? Yeah, let's bring that back. I like that. We need that.
It says for Eternal, they're going to flesh out a lot of characters who haven't really been talked about in the New 52. They said 2 things. They said the main spine of the story is going to be on Tim Drake, which is good because Teen Titans is awful. And another
You
thing.
know what else is awful? The fucking Teen Titans TV show going on right now.
Yeah,
Teen
Titans Go.
Yeah,
It's fucking.
The other thing that a lot of like old school fans are really excited about, they said they're going to bring Stephanie Brown into the New 52.
We don't know in what capacity, though.
No,
Well, it
As
is
spoiler.
Stephanie Brown.
Did
I
you-
will. I'll quick. They're bringing her back
Yeah.
as spoiler.
Yeah.
That's been announced. Stephanie Brown is very few people know about this. She was technically, I guess, the 4th Robin. She was Robin for about a month.
Look, there's a Max Landis video about it, actually.
Yes.
With the one where he's describing the Robins. He goes over it and it takes him about a minute and a half. And she's like, then we have Stephanie Brown. She was Robin for about 5 seconds.
Yeah. She's the daughter of a supervillain named Clue Master, who's very
Awesome.
very side. She was dating Tim Drake, who was Robin at the time. It got revealed that he was Robin. She was like, but she loves him. She had some weird issue about being pregnant and having to give up the baby because that was the relevant topic at the time, but we don't talk about that. So because of weird problems, Tim Drake gives up being Robin. Stephanie Brown immediately swoops in to Bruce and is like, make me Robin, and he goes, no. She comes back, make me Robin, no, make me Robin, fine. She's Robin for about a month. She does a lot of really stupid things as Robin. I heard she has like good training, but she does stupid things. I forgot what. So he fires her. She is the only Robin who's been fired, which is really funny. She gets pissed.
Obviously.
She goes, I need to do something to prove myself and how amazing I am to the big man in the bat costume. She finds this, the whole arc is called War Games. She finds this plan in like the bat computer or whatever that's like an end-all have-to-fix Gotham plan. And so she takes the plan and she doesn't know all about it, but she takes it and starts enacting it, which is basically like crime war. The whole plan is to essentially unite like all gangs underneath one gang lord that Batman kind of has an ins with. But she doesn't know that Batman himself is kind of a big player in all of it.
Right.
So a lot of people start getting killed because all these crime families are like shooting up each other and a lot of people get caught up in the crossfire. Batman and everyone else is trying to fix it and finally he's like, I think I figured it out. What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
Batman at the last second is like, I recognize this someone's reenacting one of my plans that should not have been touched, but we got to work with what we got. Ooh, what we got.
We are here.
Black Mask, of all people, figures out about this, grabs Stephanie Brown, tortures her, and essentially kills her. And then, instead of everyone going under the gang lord that Batman wants, he gets it, and so he's briefly in control of every gang thing. So people really liked her. She ended up not being dead because of a retcon. She became Batgirl.
Because comic books.
That's it. You mean
Yeah.
someone died in comics but didn't really die?
She comes back, she became Batgirl. A lot of people really liked her as Batgirl, and then the reboot happened, and they were like, by the way, she was never a Robin or anything.
That didn't happen.
So a lot of fans have been like pressuring, like, bring her back, and so now this book's actually going to bring her back as a main character. You know. But either way, though, I'm just excited because they're going to flesh out a lot of characters who haven't really gotten touched on. So like the Riddler, Professor Pig, I think Firefly is going to have his own arc.
Dude, Firefly's awesome.
They're bringing up just a lot of people who haven't been talked about at all, and I'm really excited for it.
I really dug Firefly in The Batman.
Yeah, I actually liked him. I didn't like
That was a pretty hit and miss show.
Was that the one with like the crazy acrobatic Joker with the dreadlocks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That was an interesting take on the Joker.
I love their
It
take
was-
on Clayface.
Yeah, Clayface was
That
so
was, in my
fucking
opinion,
good.
their best arc. Like, everything
Yeah.
with him was
The
awesome.
Clayface stuff was awesome. I also really loved the, on the subject of Clayface, I loved like the 2-issue arc they recently did in the Batman comic with that.
Oh, yeah. I got to read
It was really quick. It seemed like it was going to be longer, but it actually wasn't. But it was a good little stopgap.
Mm-hmm.
Clayface can be quite intimidating.
As opposed to all the arc. We briefly had like a little.
Well,
It's just the Batman
It's good
story.
because like just doing like court and death and
Yes.
Year Zero all back to back to back. That's some pretty heavy shit. Like
So now we can kind of go.
give us a little.
It's a
space to
Batman
do it.
adventure. Yeah, exactly.
I will say, going from watching the Nolan movies to reading the Batman comics is kind of jarring, just because of how many like sidekicks Batman has. in the
Oh, yeah.
books. It's like you know, you get used to like watching the Nolan movies, and it's like
Where
it's,
they're
it's,
decent.
it's Batman. I'm Batman. I have no friends. And then you like start reading the comics, and he's got like 4 different Robin / Nightwing people, and it's just it's kind of jarring.
Oh, yeah, there's the Bat family.
He's got so many.
There's a lot of.
And of course, there's a ton of books too, because like everyone's got to have their own time.
I know, like, I think at one point every single one of his sidekicks had a book. I know Nightwing was in Nightwing, Batgirl was in Batgirl,
Shocking.
Red Hood is in Red Hood and the Outlaws, which is apparently finally getting better. I haven't got to read it. I'm glad that, someone else took it, because I was like, this is really boring. And then Tim Drake was in Teen Titans, which I was hoping would be good because I love the art, and then it was really boring. And then Robin had Batman and Robin, but now he's dead, so it's now Batman and...
But now Batman and Batman.
So it's just called Batman and ...
When you said the Bat family and he was like, so didn't say he was like, because now he's a sidekick.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Mm-hmm. No, he's got...
That was
There's a
sidekick.
There's a lot of people.
Chicken.
I haven't watched Under the Red Hood
Chicken
in a
feet.
while. I think I need to.
That's a great one.
Because
That's
that's
a great
probably the best DC movie I've seen.
I
Of
have
the
the
animated family.
I have the graphic novel of that too. It stays really true to what happens.
Well, a lot of the DC animated movies, for the most part, stick true to the source material, which I kind of dig.
There are 2 things that
I've
happen.
seen. I still haven't seen part 2 of The Dark Knight Returns. Which
I got it from
Fucking-
him.
It is certainly Batman.
It's great.
I need to pick up the deluxe edition DVD for it. Have you seen that?
I have.
They released a deluxe edition that combines 1 and 2 as just one big fucking movie.
Ooh.
So that's pretty neat.
I
I
have.
loved part 1. It was
Yes.
really cool.
I've heard. I think it got confirmed that Frank Miller is going to write a couple issues of Batman Eternal.
Awesome.
And Snyder is like fanboying out, being like, yes,
Like Krim in his little panties.
because he loves.
I imagine a lot of people are creating their little panties at the thought
He
of
loves
that.
writing Batman. Like right from the get-go. Like I think one of the best interviews I read about him. This is while he was writing Death in the Family, the Joker arc.
Mhm.
Right off the get-go, he's like, "So what is this to you?" And he goes, "This is my love letter to the Joker." And they're like, "How much do you love the character?" And he goes, "I was a kid when they killed Jason Todd. I actually called in because, like, for those of you at home who don't know, Jason Todd is the second Robin. Fans did not like him at all.
Because he's terrible.
So a lot of comic book writers don't like this. They did a very controversial idea where at the end of an issue where Jason Todd was possibly dead, they had a phone number. They had 2 phone numbers and said, if you pay a nickel, you can call in and vote whether Robin will live or Robin will die. And everyone called in to kill Jason Todd. So like, people were spending money to be like, kill him. in the Max Landis joke, people say he jokes about people calling in saying, "Kill that bitch."
Yeah.
And Snyder said I was like 9 when that happened, and I called in on a payphone and was like, "Kill Jason Todd," and he goes for me to immediately after call back and say, "I didn't mean it. Don't kill Jason Todd," because he didn't know what ramifications would happen. He's like, "I understand what happened. I agree with what happened," but I was like, so he's a huge fanboy, and it's cool because I love him writing it.
Are you okay, Jake?
No, the entire time Mitch was talking, I remembered that they also, it actually happened back in July, but I just saw the article like 3 days ago. DC announced that they were kicking around the idea of a Batman Beyond movie again. Yeah! And I remember talking to Chris, our good friend Chris.
We will need to preface this one as our rant on DC, but that's fine.
But I remember talking to my good friend Chris, our good friend Chris, I'm gonna say that name,
I need to give him a call.
about this was back when they were still being like, oh, we're gonna make another Batman trilogy, like a reboot after like I think Man of Steel came out or something. But so I was talking to him about it, and I was like, Chris, I have this idea for what the new Batman trilogy should be. And he's like, okay, shoot. And I while you were talking that entire time, I was on my phone because I was looking for what it was, because I don't remember the exact specifics. But I'm gonna try to recite it as best as I can. So it incorporates Kevin Smith's run, as well as a few lesser known Batman rogues.
Okay.
But the first movie is, for the life of me, I cannot remember what I had named them all. But I think the first one was just Batman. I think it's Batman Rises.
Okay.
Just not like Dark Knight Rises, Batman Rises, because it's supposed to be he's coming back. And it's literally just the way I described it was literally 2.5 hours of them beating the shit out of Catwoman.
I like it.
Because that's all I want. That's all I want in a Batman movie, in the first one.
Fuck Catwoman.
And
By
in
the
this,
way, the big joke, at least with me and a couple of people that I knew, when we heard that the title of the third one's called The Dark Knight Rises, we made a joke about the movie being like 20 seconds long, and it was Batman in an elevator. that was our joke, but
It's better than the penis joke I thought you were going for.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
I let him get out of bed.
Like Rise to Shine.
Another great day as Batman.
yes. Anyway, so
And then the Hans Zimmer score kicks in.
Literally annoying though.
and the second movie, at the end of the first movie, it is introduced that having put Calendar Man away, finally,
we got him.
2.5 hours.
After beating the shit out of him.
Batman is approached by much in the same way. In Dark Knight Rises, Batman is approached by one of his scholarship runners, like people who run scholarships, and they're like, "Hey, this is
charities or whatever.
This is the 10-year-old who just won the scholarship for the fucking Wayne Foundation, whatever the fuck."
Right.
And it's like a big gala event, like it's introducing the kid to Bruce Wayne. And he's like there, and he's like, "Son, what's your name?" He's like, "My name's Dick Grayson." And the movie ends. Or sorry, not Dick Grayson. Was it Dick Grayson? Yeah, it's Dick Grayson.
Yeah, right.
It was Dick Grayson. Yes, first Robin, because I had to get it straight.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
There's multiple Robins.
There
in this story. And the second movie is involves Onomatopoeia, who
I know who
is
he is.
yeah, Onomatopoeia is
I actually like him a lot.
yeah, he's really good. He's a Kevin Smith.
He's got a cool
creative
mask.
villain, and his shtick is that on every page where there's supposed to be like a big like sound effects word, because of what he's done, he says it instead of it actually happening. So whenever he shoots a rocket, it's him saying boom instead of the panel being boom. And it's a really weird shtick.
He's
but
sneaking up on Joker and like the wind is rustling and you hear him go.
yeah, it's literally like the word. Just,
Yeah. That's his thing.
yeah, it's just what he
It's
does.
weird, but it's I was like,
Yeah.
alright, whatever, it's Batman. All his bad guys are weird.
Exactly. So it involves him, and what happens is Onomatopoeia shows up and he starts murdering people. Just straight up fucking murdering people.
Right.
And Batman's like, what the fuck is this? And he goes up, and about halfway through the movie, he realizes he can't do this alone. And this is a few years, maybe 7-8 years after the events of the
Of your first one?
first Batman movie. And so he's a little bit older, but he's not like old Batman.
Yeah.
But while he's fighting him, he manages to there's many encounters with him and Onomatopoeia.
Mm-hmm.
And Onomatopoeia just keeps getting the better of him. And he just keeps smacking him down. And Bruce like keeps coming at him with these fucking gadgets and fucking new strategies and keeps putting him down. And eventually he managed to just barely outsmart Onomatopoeia. And he puts him down. He's like, I got you, motherfucker. And he has him pinned down. And he's contacting the police to get him.
Yeah.
And while this is happening, Onomatopoeia manages to slip away.
Okay.
He gets away. And this kind of breaks him because it's the first time that he's ever had what to him is a very minor character in his life. Like, it's the first time he's ever met this guy, and he fucking gets away. Like, this is the guy who puts Joker away every week, and it's not even a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
Onomatopoeia gets away, and it kind of breaks him, and he's like, God, what the fuck is happening to me? I'm better than this. And it ends on a very solemn note, much like Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a happy ending. It's Batman is second guessing himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of an emotional wreck. And that exactly. And that theme really runs rampant through the entire second
Am I
movie.
really still Batman?
There's a lot of moments that I would see with him and like Alfred talking, where Alfred has to like convince him to be, listen, you wanted to be Batman, just because this is hard doesn't mean that it's time for you to give up. But yeah, the theme is prevalent in the entire movie.
Okay, I like it.
And the third movie starts with
Prometheus.
no. the third movie starts with Batman realizing
Maxie Zeus.
no.
We're getting
Bat-
old school here.
Batman has decided, and this is maybe a year or two after the end of the second movie.
Okay.
He's decided he can't do this alone. He has decided to scour his scholarship foundations for an apprentice.
Right.
And he comes across a name he recognizes in Dick Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, I wonder what this kid's up to. And he goes and he finds out that this kid he's a fucking crazy balls, like parkour motherfucker.
Probably, yeah.
It's not like the acrobatic
You're not doing the circus thing?
Not doing the circus thing. But Dick's parents are still dead.
Okay.
And they were still acrobats, but that's secondary to the fact
Okay.
that because acrobatics don't really, circus doesn't really apply in modern race.
Right.
So, but it would work.
It's just such
It
a
is-
well-known
yeah.
thing, but that's fine.
Yeah, and he sees promise in this kid, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna take this motherfucker under my wing. And so he teaches him in the first act. He's like, Dick, I'm gonna tell you a secret. And this is gonna be I'm going to take you in because Dick still isn't adopted. He's almost 18, so he's almost out of the system.
Right. Yeah.
He's like 16, 17, but he's not adopted yet.
Yeah.
And Batman's like, Dick, I'm gonna give you a choice. In like 6 months, you either get out of the system, you'll go and become your own man, or I can give you a future, a real future. And Dick's like, fucking Bruce Wayne, let's do this, come on. Because ever since he met Bruce in the first movie, he's kind of looked up to him like, this is the man to help me do what I want to do, because he's very educated, he's got scholarship and that. So Bruce teaches
Did you ever see Holy Musical Batman?
No.
This is my shout out to that. Check out Star Kid. They do their own homemade written material. They have a musical called Holy Musical Batman, and it's basically the introduction of Robin.
Yeah.
And it's Bruce out of costume, and he's really bummed out because everyone likes Superman more.
Yeah.
And he's like, and again, this is meant to be funny. Alfred comes in, and he's just like, "Hello, Master Wayne." He does a great like Michael Caine impression. And he's just like, "There's this man from the circus to meet you." He's like, "Oh." And he's just like, "You like the circus, don't you?" "Yeah." "Who likes the circus?" "Batman loves the circus." It's really funny. And he walks out and he sees Dick Grayson sitting and he immediately turns around and he's like, "Alfred, I thought it was going to be like an elephant or something." And the circus is like, "No, this young man, he's not," does the whole, he does a really good, I might show you guys that later. And he just walks out, he's just like, "You should go introduce yourself. He's just like you," and stuff. He's like, "Okay." And he turns around and he just goes, "Hi, I'm Batman." "Fuck!" He goes, "Forget I said that," and he runs away. And then he comes back, he's like, I'm Batwing. No, I'm Bruce Man. Ah, why is this so hard? So that's what you reminded me of, yeah.
Okay, so anyway, he goes.
Finally, the kid just goes like, he's like, what's your name? And he goes, "They call me Dick." "So that's what those bastards call you. Well, they call me that because it's my name. Sorry.
So anyway, he's taught at this point Dick Grayson to be Robin, and at this point I feel like this would actually function better as like halfway through the second movie that he starts doing this.
Okay.
But anyway, either way, he
Right, yeah.
starts teaching. He teaches Dick how to be Robin,
Mm-hmm.
and while this is happening, Onomatopoeia starts showing back up.
Okay.
But he's not working alone this time.
It's
There's
a third movie. You have to
Yeah.
introduce a new one.
people are dying, but they're dying in ways that aren't stereotypical to Onomatopoeia, which is very gruesome.
Yeah.
Onomatopoeia is a very gruesome villain in that he murders
Yeah.
people.
He shoots people. He stabs people.
Yeah. There's lots of blood, lots of gore.
Yeah.
Some of these people are very cleanly killed,
Mm.
like just single bullet holes.
Okay.
So Batman realizes that Onomatopoeia is working with Deadshot. They come together and
Our powers combined.
yeah, exactly.
We will defeat the
At
Batman.
We will kill so
Yeah.
many more people.
And
With our double amount of bullets.
up until this point, Batman sort of his spirits have been a little bit buoyed
Yeah.
because he has his apprentice going to carry on his legacy. But they come back and he has just as much trouble with them, even with Robin, and he can't do it. And he's really starting to get down in the doldrums again. He's just like losing faith in himself, and they're just beating the shit out of him. And they're like top of the second act. There's this huge battle between Batman and Robin and Onomatopoeia and Deadshot, and they basically have Batman cornered. Batman and Robin are going to die, and they let them live because they're like, we're not done with you yet. We want you to feel the fall of Gotham. And Batman is just fucking wrecked by this because he's been beaten. Not like Bane beaten,
Yeah.
like worse. Because Bane at least broke his back, made him immobile. They just left him. They were like, we could kill you, but we're not going to.
Right.
And this isn't Dick, because this has been happening over the course of about a year. Dick realizes that he's still a teenager. He can't deal with moody Bruce Wayne right now.
Right, yeah.
He's an old, crotchety man who just keeps yelling at him to fuck him up because
Gosh, Dad, you're so annoying.
Exactly, because he's just taking out all his aggression on Dick, even though it's misplaced. So Dick's like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna take all of this information that you give me. I'm gonna go be with Nightwing over here.
Fuck you,
and fucking
Batman.
leave you alone. And this just breaks him further, and he's just like, he's just wrecked. And then
My son went to college.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he gets torn up about this, and then Onomatopoeia and Deadshot hack into the Batcave. And like they get into his shit, and they're like, Batman, we're fine, we're ready for you. Come prepared because this is going to be your last fight. And he's like, he has this really long talk with Alfred, and he's like, Alfred just tells him like, listen, you can do this. They're not the Joker, they're not Bane, they're just two fucking lowlifes who put on a costume.
Right.
You can do this, and much like always, Alfred is there to be
Marched away.
exactly, yeah, he moves
Yeah.
the spirits.
Not many people know that.
And he has this really awesome, like, I'm gonna fucking do this moment.
Yeah.
And he goes out, and he just gets his shit handed to him. He gets the fuck beaten out of him. And near the end of the movie, at the final bit of the fight scene, Onomatopoeia and Deadshot are standing over him. And Deadshot obviously comes fully armored with all the guns and shit.
Guns.
And
Breathing guns.
And of course, throughout the fight, Batman has knocked away many of these guns.
And spattering.
Yeah, exactly. And Batman's literally on the ground, like he's fallen down, and they're like, Deadshot's like got a gun pointed at his head, and he's like, "You have any last words?" And Batman feels a gun just within arm's reach, and he grabs it and he points it up, and he's like shaking because he doesn't use guns. Batman doesn't kill, but he knows that he's gonna die right now, or he's gonna protect himself.
Right.
And Deadshot's like, "You won't do it," and he shoots him in the head. And then Onomatopoeia's like, "Oh shit!" and he fucking runs. Because Batman just,
And he runs away.
He runs off
Yeah.
going tap 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 the whole way.
because Batman just fucking killed a guy. And
See, that's how he's written, though.
we
We laugh, but like he shoots, he's like bang, 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 and then he ran out and he's like click, 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 click.
and then after Onomatopoeia gets away, Batman has to fly away quick because the police are coming. And he goes back to the Batcave and it's just ruined. This is rock bottom for Batman.
Yeah.
He killed a guy. One of these people that he's fought many times is dead now.
Right.
He broke his code, and he realizes that he goes on his computer and he opens a file, and it's just labeled Robin, and he goes through it, and it's all shit about Dick Grayson, and
It's
he,
like their scrapbook.
yeah, it's like a scrapbook, and he's remembering, and he goes through
This
all
is when
this.
we went to the circus.
Yeah, and
Here we are at the beach.
Oh!
and while he's doing this, he has
We saw a seagull that day.
he's also flipping through his scholarship candidates.
Yeah.
And he's he's just looking at all of it, he's taking it all in. He's finally coming to terms with his own mortality
Mhm.
and how he can't do this because he's old.
Yeah.
Now, he's graying. And
Well, I'm guessing when you said like he had fallen, like when he was getting the shit beaten out of him, I'm guessing like because definitely Deadshot and mostly Onomatopoeia, they use guns.
yeah, they were fucking
I'm
shit.
guessing he's got like
Yeah, he's
bullet
fucking
wounds
ruined.
all
Like
over,
he's
yeah.
taped to fuck with
Yeah.
bandages. And he's like, this isn't a world for me anymore. I can't. This isn't a world of fist fights and fucking maybe swords if we're crazy.
Mhm.
There are guns now. It's the modern era. Batman doesn't fit as he is now.
Right.
And
He
so
was reborn
he takes,
as Gunman.
No. He takes all of the files in like that were labeled Robin, and he just deletes them. And he's just idly scrolling through his
Yeah.
scholarship thing, just killing time. And he sees one name on there, and it piques his interest. And he goes and he creates a new folder that's labeled Beyond.
Yeah,
And he goes to the name, and he clicks it, and the name is Terry McGinnis.
Uh-huh.
And then from that, you spawn off 3 new movies, and they're Batman Beyond movies, and I can finally be whole as a person.
That's good.
That's
good.
that was my ideal Batman trilogy,
I like it.
and it's basically just fucking
It's a bit of a downer.
It is. It's really depressing.
It's
man.
really interesting, but that's the like to me that's what the
Yeah.
beginning of Batman Beyond always has been.
Yeah.
It's Batman coming to terms with his own I'm an old man. I can't do
Yeah.
this.
I can't Batman.
I can't Batman
You
anymore.
will Batman.
I can't Batman.
Too late for me to
Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love how I just finished ranting like 30 fucking minutes ago about how everyone does like this moody, dark, emotional Batman
There's
shit.
your moody,
And it's my
dark,
fucking moody, dark, emotional Batman
Yeah.
shit.
That's how it
I
is.
should go with
But
my
mine
own
has no gun
Spider-Man
battles.
pitch sometime.
Do it.
Do what?
I should go with my own Spider-Man pitch sometime. How I'd like to see like a perfect Spider-Man trilogy.
Do you know how you do it?
I don't off the top
Okay.
of my head.
That's what I say. We're
I-
on the subject.
I know
Yeah,
there's-
yeah, it's
I know
fun.
there's a couple things I want to incorporate. One of them is what they're doing with the Amazing Trilogy, in that they seem to be kind of making Norman Osborn like the overall villain of the trilogy.
Mhm.
Like he's not even present in the first one.
He's mentioned, but that's
He's
about it.
mentioned. You feel his influence, but you don't actually meet him. And he's
Right.
going to be in the second one, but no one's
I
saying
love
he's
who
going to
it
be the
is,
Green
by
Goblin
the
or
way, yeah.
anything, because they're talking about all these other villains that are going
Chris
to be in it.
Cooper.
Yeah, Chris
Who's gonna
Cooper's a
be
great
so
casting
awesome.
for it. Maybe not Willem Dafoe great, but still a great
Well, it's
casting.
him, and then the guy from Chronicle is going to
Yeah.
be
David
Harry,
Hahn.
which is going to be awesome.
But
Finish
and
it.
then it would seem like they're gonna probably go full scale Green Goblin in the third, and that's one of the ways I do it, because to me, as much as I love Venom, I think Green Goblin is Spidey's greatest nemesis.
Oh yeah.
Green Goblin has always been his most like relentless villain, and his most
Everything he does is
his
very
most
much like
his most morally corrupt villain.
Mhm.
Like Doc Ock has moments of good. Venom / Eddie Brock has
Yeah.
moments of good. Norman Osborn, once he goes Goblin, is basically full blown corrupted.
Yeah.
He never comes back, and that's one of the parts where Sam Raimi I thought kind of fucked up, was because Norman gets that kind of glint of humanity in his eyes
Oh,
as he's
well, that's
dying.
right,
He's like,
yeah.
"Don't tell Harry," and I'm like, "Fuck that." The real Goblin wouldn't give a shit.
He'd just be
He
like,
wouldn't be thinking about Harry. He'd be like, "How can I still kill
Well,
Spider-Man?"
especially after just rereading Ultimate Spider-Man, where Norman Osborn is so batshit loco, and just like to me that's like the ideal Spider-Man's ideal arch nemesis is the Green Goblin, who is so far beyond humanity that he literally has no purpose in his life but to kill Spider-Man and prove himself the greatest genetic creation in the entire world.
Well,
And
even-
that's
yeah.
it's such a great villain, and that to me, I don't know how I all want to get there, but I think if I was going to do a Spidey trilogy, I would build to the
Yeah.
the Green Goblin, not
So when he finally gets there, we're all like,
a
We've seen
real
him grow,
intimidating
yeah.
one. And I would do it Ultimate style, where he's the big fucking mutated guy and stuff.
that's the only
Nice.
reason why he would be called the Goblin. Also,
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
It's really weird for a guy who's normal to be like, I'm gonna dress up like a Green Goblin.
It is, and I guess they played it off sort of because it's like part like the armor or something, but it just looks that way. And I'm like, if you're really designing armor, it would look
Why would you make it look
way
like
cooler than that.
Yeah.
I love the Raimi trilogy. They're fine for
Yeah.
for what they are, but I think there's some flaws there. Just like I think there's some flaws in Amazing Spider-Man too. And it's just like
You brought up Ultimates, and I agree with your Green Goblin thing, because the second time he shows up, literally, every main character is like, what? Why is he here? oh, this can only go downhill from, and it does.
Yeah,
and it's
he almost straight up kills MJ the second time he comes back.
Well, even then, like in one of those issues, you see like they have a conversation, and he's all like, "You'll be doing this for me," and they're he's full Green Goblin creepy. And like the next issue, it's like a repeat of that, but from his perspective, and he's seeing like ghosts.
Yeah,
and
he's
like
so
all
fucking
of this bonkers stuff.
Yeah, he's absolutely fucking insane because he's like,
Yeah.
he's like hearing voices in his head and like
It's scary, man.
It is, and I'd love to see that brought to film.
Mhm.
I think you could have so much. Not to mention in Ultimate Spider-Man, Green Goblin straight up breaks out of the Shield prison that he's being held in.
Mhm.
Not with any fancy tricks or anything. He literally just blows the shit up, which is like he probably could have just broken out any fucking time he wanted to, and he was just waiting it out. I'm like, he's such a fucking psycho, and it's awesome.
It's pretty demented in that one.
It's
I'm excited.
you mentioned something earlier, but it reminded me that did you hear that? Oh, it was when you mentioned Chronicle. Did you hear that Michael B. Jordan, no relation to Michael Jordan, I found out, despite the fact that they're both black,
Yeah, you told me.
Doesn't mean they're
doesn't
related.
mean they're related. No, Michael B. Jordan, who's the guy who plays Steve in Chronicle,
This is a black guy.
the black guy.
The one we all
the-
really fell in love with first, and then he has to die
because you fell in love with him.
Spoilers for Chronicle.
If you ever seen Chronicle now, what the fuck's wrong with you?
2-year-old movie
Yeah,
spoilers.
Jesus. Anyway, he got cast to play Johnny Storm in Fantastic Four movie,
Yeah.
and the internet went crazy.
I haven't heard anything about that happening.
Go on the internet.
Apparently. By
'Cause
the way,
it's there.
I did verify your Beware the Batman thing. It hasn't been canceled, but it looks like it's on the road.
Okay, never mind.
It's been on kind of indefinite hiatus for a bit,
Yeah.
and Cartoon Network's being real mum about like a return date. So I guess speculation is about that Cartoon Network's already shit canned it and just haven't mentioned it yet.
That's what they did with Young Justice and Green Lantern.
Yeah, they put them on
Can I
hiatus
also
too.
just address how fucking depressing the state of comic book TV is right now?
Uh-huh.
Like as good as all the movies and the books are right now,
Yeah.
this like golden age of superhero television we had has
Finally,
flown out the fucking window.
Mhm.
Because there was a time where we had like Spectacular Spider-Man,
Oh.
which was amazing. The Batman, which was not the best, but it wasn't awful.
Wasn't awful.
And even Beware the Batman was great if you like campy. Not Beware the Batman. Batman Brave and Bold was good if you like.
Yeah, I
campy
heard it was
Batman.
exactly what the comic was.
Yeah, it was campy Batman. It's what
Yeah.
Jake over here is asking for. Wolverine and the X-Men was supposed to be pretty good. Young Justice, Green
Loved
Lantern,
it.
the animated series.
Need to watch it.
Just like
Yeah.
there were all of these great superhero programs, and if you go even earlier in the decade, you had like the original Teen Titans show and
Batman, Superman, the animated series.
Yeah. And,
Justice League.
but now, if you look at like the cartoon shit we get on TV, we get Beware the Batman, which might be a good show, but the animation is awful. Teen Titans Go is not a good show and has awful animation.
I was happy that like I heard about it and they said like all of their returning
I
voice
tried to
actors-
watch an
which
episode, I
was-
couldn't get through 2 minutes.
I was happy when they brought back their voice actors, and then I saw the animation, and it looked like it cost a nickel. And
It looks like it's drawn by
It's-
a bunch of 16-year-old art students.
It's literally Flash animated, dude.
Is it? Well,
Yeah,
My Little
they-
Pony's also Flash animated.
Well, yeah, but it's just like, but it looks really amateur as opposed to
Yeah.
My Little Pony, which
Yeah.
is really well
What
animated.
I gather about Teen Titans Go is literally the idea was there was a demand for more Teen Titans.
Yeah.
And the voice actor's like, yeah, we'll do it, sure.
Mhm.
And they decided, well, yeah, we can make money off this. Let's just sit them down and like just record shit.
Just random stuff.
Pretty
They
much.
just let them go? Or was it just like they shat out a script and like, here, read this?
I heard like some of like their shorts are like
It was basically
today we're gonna learn how to use our manners or something. Like I heard it was very kid more oriented, which maybe
Well,
isn't a
there's a-
bad idea, but you can do it better than this.
There's one episode that airs all the time, and I know this because Day watches Teen Titans Go all the fucking time, which, on the one hand, yeah, she watches superheroes, on the other hand, God, fucking Day
there's
watches
nothing
Teen
good
Titans Go.
superheroes.
Yeah, she's not growing up in
Yeah.
a good superhero world.
No, I have a plan, and I've run it by Sonya, and she's okay. I have a plan. I'll
Just
tell-
start
I'll tell
force
you.
feeding her Justice League and Batman.
No. Well, she already called me Batman sometimes. Because Sonya got me a Batman shirt, and she was like, hey, and I was like, this was way back in, like,
Yeah.
early and shit. Day was trying to get my attention one day when I had my Batman shirt on, and she was like, hey, and I was like, Day, I have a name. And she was like, hey, and I was like, I'm only gonna answer you if you call me by my name. She's like, hey, Batman, and I was like,
I will answer the
I will answer that. And so, like, sporadically, she'll call me Batman sometimes.
That's cool.
Um,
So you can always look and be like, I am.
Yeah. Anyway, shit, what was I talking about?
The cartoons, the
Teen Titans Go.
Justice League,
You had a plan to fix it.
plan
Oh.
to fix her.
Yeah, no, it was before I was talking about the plan.
The plan.
Or was it?
I don't know, what's the fucking plan?
I don't know. Just tell us what
Okay,
the plan
the
is.
plan is the plan is to
Keep saying plan.
or actually, I think the Batman thing was what I was trying to say.
The Bat plan.
The plan was the other thing I forgot. Anyway, the plan is to, since she already watches Teen Titans Go,
Take a drink every time we see Plan.
Let's get everybody dead to listen to show. Goddamn right. So since she already watches Teen Titans Go, she at the very least has a mild interest in superpowers.
Okay.
I remember what I was trying to say earlier.
Too late, you're on the plan.
I'll go to this toothache.
Write it down.
Remind me about toothache.
Got it.
Anyway, so the plan is to, I'm going to get a new job here, and I'm going to have hopefully a little bit extra money. I'm going to start buying comic books.
Nice.
I'm going to take her with me to the store,
Oh, good.
because every time you take her somewhere, she's like, can I get some? Can I get some? Can I get some? And I'm like, if I take her to the comic book store, I'm like, yes, you can get one thing. And it can be a comic, not a toy. And she'll be like, oh, okay. And then I'll get my comics and I'll have them bagged and boarded. And she, as much as she doesn't want to admit it, she does shit that I do.
Yeah.
Because I guess
You're an influencer.
I'm an influencer in her life now. And she doesn't realize she does it. But I'll get my shit bagged and boarded and I'll be really careful about it. And I'll get her bags and boards. And I have a feeling she's going to go for the Adventure Time comics and the My Little Pony comics.
Probably.
I need to read Adventure Time comics.
They're apparently really good.
I hear they're
Yeah,
great.
they're great. Yeah.
You need to know what it is.
I don't think I do.
Those also apparently are surprisingly good.
They still really
From
well.
what I hear.
But it's kind of biased. It's kind of a biased
Yeah,
take.
they're bought by people who like the show. So
Yeah.
No kidding. It's got a huge fucking fan base. It works so well.
They're still making a Scooby-Doo Where Are You comic, right?
they are. They really are. And there's
Dude, the Scooby-Doo show that was just running for like 2 years,
Yeah.
that just got canceled, was apparently was like awesome. Not even apparently awesome.
the one where Velma and Shaggy were together.
I heard it didn't last long.
I don't remember. I only caught a couple episodes of it, but it was
I'd like
really,
to
really
see
cool
it.
because it actually had an emphasis on characters and continuity, which
Cool.
boggled
Yeah,
my mind
that
in a
was-
Scooby-Doo
yeah,
show.
yeah,
it was
that was Velma
called,
and
it was
Shaggy.
called Mystery Incorporated,
Yep.
correct?
That was it.
Yeah.
Really, really good from the couple episodes I saw. It stuck to like the Scooby-Doo formula of like there's a bad guy every week, but it also like had a lot of character and continuity shit. I was fucking blown away. I was like, I'm so glad that someone's like working on this kind of shit. And it's a shame it got canceled because I would have been interested to see more of that. But yeah,
I think it ultimately comes back probably to the Nielsen problem we addressed a couple episodes ago.
yeah, well,
Remind me what that was.
You weren't here for that. We talked about the Nielsen rating system and how it's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
just listen to the episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't get me started again.
No,
I will rant for another fucking hour.
Fuck it, work in progress. Watch it.
Which one?
I either was here or I listened to that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
because I know that you listen to the episodes.
Yeah,
That's
some of it.
I do sometimes.
The first 20 minutes. I'm
Jake,
like, okay.
just promise me one thing.
What?
Try and get her to like Spider-Man. It's important.
Okay, but primary on the list is Green Lantern.
That's fair.
You know what? I'll give you a favor. I'll go Green Lantern and Spider-Man.
You're her new daddy right now, so you get to make your call first.
That's right.
But I'm just saying, for me,
I'll get her to like Spider-Man
get some Spidey.
as much as I can.
Because Spidey's
because-
important.
While she does do the shit that I do, she's also just as anti-authority as I am, and as Sonya is.
Well,
So,
talk about how much you hate Spider-Man then. Be like,
Yeah.
Spider-Man's so fucking dumb.
She'll probably be like, "What's Spider-Man? I want to know
Oh,
what
no,
Spider-Man
this is
is."
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my roommate Andrew has some Spider-Man shit you can look at, but it's pretty fucking dumb.
I will not give your stuff to her. She will tear it apart.
That's fine.
She's a very smart 6-year-old, but she is still 6 years old.
Yeah.
That's all I got really on Spidey comics.
Did we get to talk about this last issue of Superior?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
Like both me and you. We don't have to talk about it on this.
No, go
I'm
ahead.
just curious.
No, I think we talked about it a little bit.
Okay.
Then.
What do
But
you?
we can always go back to it.
Okay.
Go for it.
For the,
Well-
these are spoilers if you care for.
But this is better.
I say I went
Yeah.
right up to the newest issue of Flash earlier. I
Right.
think comic spoilers are kind
They
of
recently had this because a lot of fans demanded it, and the current writer loves this. They had a whole arc featuring Spider-Man 2099, which is Spider-Man from a distant future.
another great
It's-
superhero cartoon from when we were growing up.
Uh-huh.
It's basically I guess
It's
Batman
essentially
Beyond.
Batman Beyond
is
and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
A lot of people actually are curious who would win in a fight, by the way.
Between those two.
Online, Beyond or 2099. I'm like, that'd be a fun one to watch.
At the very least, yeah. It'd be
Yeah.
really quippy.
Yeah, oh, it but they released like the covers and synopses of their comics like months before they come out, just because that's how they get.
They're called
stuff.
solicits.
Yes, and they had like the end of this one, and they kept on saying like end of the 2099 arc, ramifications that will affect the entire Spidey universe. And I figured like they say that for everything, but this is
Yeah.
Dan Slott, the man who killed quotations Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh,
They killed Peter Parker's brain.
he probably
He didn't Bendis it.
Right.
He didn't murder the man, but
Didn't watch Peter Parker die right in front of me.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, it's,
As Andrew cries.
it's even I was like shedding tears when I was
Death
in
of
Barnes and Noble.
Spider-Man is brutal.
It's so sad.
Anyway, though, I'm like, well, it's Dan Slott, though. It probably means it's gonna be a big deal.
Yeah.
And so a couple big things happened, actually, which is really kind of cool. One thing is Alchemex, like the evil company that 2099 is always fighting. It starts getting formed in like the present, which I'm like, oh, okay.
So 2099 is like, I'm gonna go back in time.
Shit's gonna happen. Another big ramification is that 2099 is now stuck in the present.
Oh shit.
2099 is stuck in 2013.
Remind me how we got to the present.
What happened was it's the first issue in the arc is almost primarily a 2099 arc because I think it needs to be,
Yeah.
or because it's all him in the future. We go to Alchemex, big bad company, where a lot of time shit is happening.
Yeah.
Like T-Rexes are literally showing up. Redcoats have a great moment where they show up and like, kill the traitor, and literally 29 is like, Redcoats? Really?
Then start charging
It's-
straight through the Speed Force.
Oh,
That's
God.
the best.
It's
It's
ridiculous time nonsense,
Yeah.
and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah.
And he's like, only one company would be up to shenanigans like this, Alchemex. And he goes down
Spider-Man
there.
ho!
He goes there, and the president or whatever, I think his name is like Tyler Stone or something.
It's Stone.
It's something Stone.
It has to be so.
And he's all just like, Spider-Man! And he's just like, and he just goes like, what are you doing with the time thing? And he looks at him, and he's got like holes in him. Like, not like bullet wounds,
What
but
Tyler Stone does?
yeah.
Like
Not like
Swiss cheese?
yeah, more like Swiss cheese,
Okay.
honestly. Like it's not bloody; it just he's getting like holes through him, and he's like, because he shows up and he's like, "You're behind all this. What is happening?"
I love moments like that.
And he basically has like the Spider-Man. There's a time, something's wrong in the times. Yeah, that's alright. I wave my hands around when I do like the Snidely Whiplash bad guy.
It's so good. I love watching it. I hope we can video podcast.
Oh, we need to have at least like
If only for
pictures.
the Mitch waving his hand.
That'll be my contribution. Like us enough, and I'll do it I'll do it live.
You can always post little YouTube shorts.
Yes.
I'm still need to find an animator.
So he's just like, something's happening in the time stream, and they go to like a whole bunch of pictures because this actually ties into my, if you heard prior, my Age of Ultron rant, where Wolverine broke time. They're all, they're looking at all these images and all this time nonsense that's happening. They're like, oh, it's probably back in the present, like our present, because they're fucking around with time. So they basically like give Spidey a communicator and like, you need to go back in time and stop all this. And we find out from 2099's backstory, apparently this guy is like, the Stone bad guy is actually like his biological father. So it's like, oh shit, if he gets erased, I'm erased.
Oh no.
But I'm Spider-Man and I hate the guy. I can't make it sound like I'd go for no reason.
Yeah.
So he literally just goes, why on earth should I go? And the guy's like, well, look at the screen in the present. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you're already there in our screen in the present, so you kind of have to go. And he literally goes, damn it! Time bullshit!
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Kind of, but whatever. You forgive it because you're just kind of like, oh, 2099.
And 29 is a lot like
He's
that.
fighting T-Rexes
Yeah.
and Redcoats and the Wright brothers.
And he's
stuff.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he shows up and they have this whole like fight between.
Spider fight.
That's kind of
They actually fight against each other and then they kind of work together. There's a great moment where 2099 shows up in front of Doc Ock Spider-Man. And this is the point where Doc Ock has erased all of Peter's memories. So he's like, he doesn't know who this is.
Yeah.
And so they're like really close to each other, and he's like, "Who are you?" And he's 2099 goes, he's like, "Pete, and he doesn't say Pete. He's like, "Well, we've had an adventure. I'm the Spider-Man of the year
You know
2099."
who I am.
He's like, "We had a whole thing because they did
Yeah.
in the past." And he just goes, "Look, I know you have a different costume, but I recognize the voice." And he just goes, "You are still Peter?" And there's this great, like, it cuts to Superior Spider-Man, and in his thought bubble it just says, "He knows," and then he swings at him. And I just went, yes!
Doc Ock
So-
Spidey is
He's so entertaining.
Yeah.
So at the very end, they end up, like, saving the time stream and doing stuff. And back in the future, evil stone guy who was Swiss cheese, the holes fill, and he's like, by God, he fixed it. And you know, his scientist geeks are like, good, let's get Spider-Man back. And he goes, no! And he breaks the time machine. He just breaks the time machine right there. And he's like, now he's stuck there! And he basically goes, and he can't do anything to my ancestor because that'll get rid of him and everything. So 2099 is basically there going, I can't do anything. I'm stuck
I
here.
just sit here and eat cereal all
So
day.
now at least the main Spider-Man timeline also has a just Spider-Man in it.
Yeah, now we have...
Which should prove an interesting dynamic. Because for like the last 18 issues, we've had basically a tyrannical, evil Spider-Man,
Yeah.
basically.
Which is fun for a while.
Which is fun for a while, but it is good to get a foil to that.
Yeah.
Because we all know Doc Ock Spider-Man's not going to last forever anyway.
Right.
I mean, there's only so far they can take that. But eventually the Avengers are going to come knocking on his door and be like, hey.
A lot of
they
shit's
already
starting to
know.
happen.
They already know.
They already kicked him out of the Avengers.
Yeah. It's being
yeah.
a dick.
But it's just like, if he continues to be so dickish that he would go almost full on Supergirl, the Avengers are going to show up and be like, you're going to fucking Supergirl.
We know it's super. I'm hoping it's going to be very much like the Breaking Bad end, where it's all going to just crash in around
Yeah.
him. There was, I read Team Up, which is kind of like Batman Brave and the Bold, but it's less campy and it's just a Spider-Man team up.
Batman, Raven, the boring.
Well, it's Spider-Man. And it's,
You were the guy asking for Campy
Yeah,
Batman.
you were.
That was your Campy
No, I
Batman.
don't want cape Batman. I want badass Batman.
So there's this.
It's a little of both.
The current issue of it is.
God damn it,
God
Brandon.
damn it.
Shooting.
Go, keep walking.
current-
Okay.
The current issues of Team Up are kind of dealing with the big crossover that's happening right now,
What you did.
but it's not that big of an issue. Is it okay? And there's this great moment where the big team up with him is bringing on this new girl who's got electric powers and nonsense is happening. So the second issue is he's going off to like stop her or whatever, and there's a billion different things happening. This is in the middle of like the current crossover where there's like an alien invasion. So in the middle of it, he's like trying to save lives. He's trying to beat this electric girl who's shown up, and he's also like every block punching aliens. So there's this issue where he's like, I have to stop this new electric girl. That's all that matters. And he's swinging through the city, seeing like aliens kill people and stuff. He's like, that's all that matters. That is all that matters. And then you see him literally like look down at like people being like beaten to death, and he goes, damn it! Swings down, punches a bunch of them. Actually does like a quip. And in his mind, he just goes, I better stop with the quips here. I'm sounding too much like Parker. And there's this great moment where he just goes, I shouldn't have strayed away. Lives are going to be lost. I did such a stupid thing. And he looks and he sees like this group of like 20 or so people just smiling at him, like thinking. And then he swings away and he's like, so why is it the only thing that makes the most sense right now? And I was like, dude, this is characterization. Like,
Yeah.
he's getting it. He's finally figuring it out. And then he immediately goes back to, anyways, stop
I
it.
have to be
Dr. Octopus.
Well, there was a little bit of it almost seemed like some vague hinting in the newest issue of Superior that Peter's kind of fighting his way back in.
With him crawling out of his subconscious.
Yeah,
Well, I assumed it was his
there,
subconscious.
there's
Not necessarily.
there's these really vague panels where it just kind of looks like a body kind of like crawling up.
It's
And
the
it's when Doc Ock is racking his brain trying to figure out.
it's those same panels,
yeah.
but it's all dark.
Yeah, there's basically Doc Ock is like racking his brain trying to find a secret that Peter knew, but because he wiped out all of Peter's memories from his brain, it would have to be a memory he already like accessed.
Yeah.
So he's like wiping through his brain real quick, and like the top row of the panels are like Doc Ock imagining himself in all of Spidey's like memories. It's really funny because it's
old
like
school comic.
it's like old time
It's
Spidey art,
really
but it's got like the big old
brilliant.
Doc Ock glasses on instead of Peter.
It's so cool.
And then, but in the bottom row of panels, you see just like this shadow that just like this figure kind of like crawling up, and it's kind of been speculated about that it's kind of
We're
like
wondering
Peter
if it's
Parker
Peter coming back.
kind of
yeah.
like crawling his way back in. So, if nothing else, it's weird and vague and worth speculating about, I suppose.
And if you like comics, there's nothing you like better than speculation.
Yeah,
Kinda,
When,
yeah.
when you wait a month between stories, you gotta fill
Luckily,
time with something.
again with Superior, when I mentioned Eternal coming out every week, Superior comes out every 2 weeks.
yeah, Superior's
Which I love because then I get my fix all the more. And I love it.
Yeah.
And now I'm mad at so like I get so hooked on that. So when I go back to like DC being like, ooh, is the new Batman out? No.
once a month.
Don't knock my shit over,
Once
Brian.
a month.
Knock it over. Don't knock my shit over.
So,
Don't. Again.
We good for tonight?
Yeah, I think we can probably wrap it up. Now that Brandon successfully almost broken my laptop.
In case you're tuning in, we talked about comics and October Dicks like that.
Yeah, and motherfucker almost broke it.
Knocked out a solid hour and a half, basically comic book talk.
Hold on. Let's bring Caitlin Lava.
Get her on speaker.
Let me put this on speaker real fast. Hi, Caitlin Lava. How you doing? Yeah,
we're totally recording right
we
now.
We kind of are. Yeah, you're on the podcast, in fact. So say hi to everybody. No, you gotta talk louder. Oh, well, that's boring.
She's letting her dogs out.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up because you're boring and you're not very exciting. Okay. I will call you back in a minute. Shut up.
Caitlin, I love you.
That was our good friend
That was,
Caitlin.
you might remember her from the episode I didn't post. Never mind. Alright, so, alright, we're gonna wrap this up. Actually, I had a lot of fun. We don't get to talk about comic books very often. And this-
Anyone got a plug?
Yeah,
we had a
let's
chance
plug
to
anything.
already-
Brandon has a plug.
Shout out to Jake's mom. Shout out to my mom. I love you.
Woo!
Shout out to Brandon's mom.
Yeah.
Whee!
I'll do a quick go into more
She
detail
sent
on
me 2 text messages.
Rock Relapse.
Oh, yeah.
While during the recording, she said I love you. She said she loves me, and then I said I love you.
Oh, Brandon's mom loves it.
She said she loves me more.
It did. It was.
That's adorable.
Touchdown.
That's adorable. Go ahead, Andrew.
So on my blog, rockrelapse.com, Rocktober is still in full swing. There was not even a speed bump this week like there was last week. It all went quite smoothly. Since last we talked, I have posted reviews for the new I See Stars album, the new Emphatic album, and some other record that I don't remember off the top of my head.
You tried. That's what matters.
There have been Naked and Famous, that's right. I finally got around to reviewing Naked and Famous, which I talked about reviewing way at the start of Rocktober, and it just slipped through the cracks.
Yeah.
So that's been a blast. There's even more reviews on the site, and there will be even more by the time this podcast goes up, because I'll be posting another one in like an hour. Don't know what those are going to be yet. The new AFI record is out. I'm totally going to review that. It's awesome. But yeah, rockrelapse.com, even more reviews. Check it out. October is officially the month with the most views on my blog since it started.
Nice.
Which just makes sense. It's
Because
already
you've been
seen.
posting shit.
Yeah, because nothing would post. But it's still nice to get it out there.
Oh, yeah.
It's the most.
Andrew, have you
on the blog.
considered linking to this podcast on your website?
I should put it in like a sidebar or something.
You probably should be like, hey, if you like my reviews here, check out my reviews on this shit. Because
Yeah.
you talk about music occasionally.
That'd be cool. I should do that actually. I haven't really thought about that.
Cross promotion.
Cross.
It's like we're trying to market this shit. As always, if you know an animator or you animate yourself, please email us at workinpodcast@gmail.com. That will also be in the description because I need to talk to you because I want to do stuff.
There might be one.
And I will probably pay you for it, let's be real.
Also,
At this point, I'm just basically trying to get blowjobs in an alley for this.
also rate review on iTunes.
Also, rate review on iTunes.
Comments.
Don't make Hotchkoss the only voice of
He's
reason.
so lonely, guys.
He's so sad and he needs friends.
For the night, starting across from me, we have
Andrew.
Batman.
Mitch.
And I'm Jake. I'll see you guys all next week. It's been fun. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.